Like money in the bank, muscle gives your body resources to handle whatever life throws at it. The more you have saved, the better prepared you are when something unexpected happens. But most people never think about muscle this way. What if I told you there's one single factor that predicts how long you will live better than almost anything else? And it's not your cholesterol, it's not your blood pressure, it's not even your weight. In fact, research shows something shocking. It's your muscle mass. People with low muscle mass are 57% more likely to die from any cause compared to people with normal muscle levels. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between watching your grandchildren grow up and missing it entirely. And here's the part most people don't realize. After the age of 30, if you do nothing, your body naturally loses 3 to 8% of its muscle every decade. It happens slowly. So most people never notice it. And by the time many people reach their 80s, they may have lost up to half the muscles they had in their prime. And this is where that bank account idea becomes important. Think of muscle like a savings account of your health. Every year, when you train your muscle, it's like making a deposit into that account. But when you start ignoring it and slowly start withdrawing from that account, eventually that account runs dry. When that happens, the strength fades, balance becomes harder, illness becomes harder to recover from, and independence slowly begins to disappear. Muscle isn't just about looking strong. It's one of the biggest reserves your body has to stay healthy, resilient, and even independent as you age. If you're new here, hi and welcome. My name is Dr. Ali. I work as a GP or family medicine resident doctor in the UK. On this channel, I break down complex, boring science into simple explanations to prevent disease even before it starts, along with improving metabolism and finding ways to live longer using evidence-based medicine. If you find this helpful, obviously consider subscribing and liking the video. It really helps this information reach people who might genuinely benefit from it. We're going to break down this video into simple sections. We will talk about what the research actually shows, why muscle is so important for your body, the hidden condition most people don't know about, how muscle affects aging, and finally, and most importantly, what you can start doing today. Let me start with the data. Research followed over 81,000 people for up to 14 years. What they found was crystal clear. People with low muscle mass had a 57% higher risk of dying. But here's where it becomes even more concerning. If someone had low muscle mass and obesity, their risk of dying more than doubled. Think of your body like a house. Muscle is the foundation. You can repaint the walls, you can fix the roof, you can renovate the kitchen. But if the foundation is crumbling, the entire house is at risk. Another large study looking at nearly 22,000 Americans found something remarkable. For every 20% increase in muscle mass, the risk of death dropped by 14%. And that protection was even stronger when it came to cancer mortality. Researchers have also studied a condition called sarcopenia, which simply means severe muscle loss. People with sarcopenia, which a lot of elderly patients who are frail would have, people with sarcopenia would have roughly double the risk of dying compared to people with healthy muscle levels. In some studies, that risk was more than 3 times higher. Most people think muscle is only about strength or appearance, but biologically, muscle is far more important than that. It's actually one of the most important organs for survival in the human body. If you strip it down to the essentials, muscle does 3 critical things for your health. Just 3. And each one directly affects how long and how well you live. First, muscle controls your blood sugar levels. Muscle is your body's main blood sugar regulator. Every time you eat, glucose enters your bloodstream. Your muscle acts like a sponge, soaking that sugar out of the blood and storing it safely. The more muscle you have, the easier it is for your body to keep blood sugar stable. But when muscle mass drops, that sugar has nowhere to go. So it stays in the bloodstream, slowly damaging the arteries, the nerves, the kidneys, and even the heart. This is one of the reasons muscle loss is strongly linked to type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease, such as heart attacks. In simple terms, muscle keeps your metabolism stable. Second, muscle is your body's emergency reserve. Muscle acts like a biological savings account. When your body faces stress, such as infection, surgery, or any illness, it suddenly needs large amount of protein to survive and repair itself. And where does that protein come from? Your muscles. Your body literally breaks down muscle tissue to fuel recovery. If you have strong reserves, your body has something to draw from. If you don't, you're entering that fight without resources. It's like going into winter with no food stored for cold months. Third, and finally, muscle sends health signals throughout your body. Muscle is actually a communication organ. When muscle contracts, they release signaling molecules called myokines. These act like messages sent throughout the body that help regulate inflammation, immune function, brain health, and even bone strength. So when muscle mass declines, these protective signals decline as well, and the whole body becomes less resilient to disease and even aging. So when people think muscle is just about lifting weights or looking athletic, they're missing the bigger picture here. Muscle is protecting your metabolism, your immune system, and your long-term health. And when you lose it, you lose far more than just strength. Now, moving on to something most people have never heard of, but millions are living with. It's called sarcopenic obesity. This is when someone has low muscle mass and has high body fat at the same time. And here's the surprising part. You can look completely normal on the scale and still have it. One large study found that people with sarcopenic obesity had nearly 3 times the risk of dying compared to people with healthy body composition. Think of it like a car with a weak engine pulling a heavy trailer. The engine, which is your muscle, is struggling. The extra weight, which is the body fat, keeps increasing the load. Eventually, something breaks. And here's why this happens so often. As we age, the body naturally loses muscle and gains fat. So even if your weight stays the same, your body composition may be slowly shifting in the wrong direction. The scale can lie, but the muscle mass tells the truth. There are actually two different types of age. Your chronological age, which is the number of birthdays you've had, and your biological age, which reflects how old your body actually is at a cellular level. And interestingly, muscle mass appears to influence the biological aging. Studies looking at epigenetic aging markers found that people with higher muscle mass and strength tend to show slower biological aging. Think of two identical Toyota cars made in the same year. One has been carefully maintained and serviced regularly. The other one has been neglected. Same age, completely different condition. That's the difference muscle can make. Muscle doesn't just help you live longer, it helps you stay younger while making you live longer. Here's another key point. It's not just about how much muscle you have, it's about how strong that muscle is. Studies show that low muscle strength alone can double the risk of death even if muscle size appears normal. Strength determines whether you can get up from a chair, climb stairs, prevent falls, and maintain independence. There's even a simple test researchers sometimes use. Can you sit on the floor and stand back up without using your hands? I mean, you can try it now. People who can do this tend to have significantly lower chances of dying, also scientifically called the mortality risk, because that movement requires strength, balance, coordination, and even mobility. Strength is essentially the horsepower of your body. Now let's talk about what you can actually do. It starts with something simple: protein. One of the biggest misconception is that protein needs decrease with age, but in reality, the opposite is true. As we get older, our bodies become less efficient at building muscles. So we actually need more protein, not less. Most researchers recommend 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. For someone who weighs about 70 kilos, that's roughly 70 to 84 grams of protein daily. And if you work in pounds, you can just multiply that by 2.2. Protein alone is not enough. If protein is the building material, exercise is the construction crew. Without the signal from exercise, those building materials never get used. The single most effective intervention we have for maintaining muscle is resistance training, not supplements, not medications, strength training. Research consistently shows that resistance training can increase your muscle mass, increase your strength, improve your mobility, reduce inflammation, and even improve the quality of life and reducing the mortality risk. And the good news is that you don't need to spend hours in the gym. Just 2 or 3 sessions per week can make a major difference, or about 150 minutes per week. Focus on large muscle group using exercises like squats, presses, rows, deadlifts. These movements give you the most benefit for your time. The most powerful results happen when protein intake and resistance training is combined. Exercise tells your muscles to grow. Protein provides the raw materials needed to build them. It's like planting a garden. Exercise prepares the soil, the protein feeds the plant. Without both, nothing grows. Let me leave you with this. You can't change your genes, you can't stop the clock, but you can influence one of the strongest predictors of your lifespan, which is your muscle mass. Low muscle mass increases mortality risk by about 57%, and resistance training and adequate protein intake can help reverse that trajectory. Every workout you do, every gram of protein you eat, every training session you complete, you're not just building muscles, you're building years of healthy life. Muscle isn't vanity, it's longevity, it's independence, it's health insurance for your future. So the real question is, what are you going to do about it? Start today. Your future self will thank you. And in the comments below, tell me what's the biggest barrier stopping you from building muscle right now. Let's solve it together. If this video helped you understand how important muscle really is, hit the like button and subscribe for more evidence-based health information.